Okay, so I have been on here since 6:30, but I was in the wrong meeting. I was like, where is everybody? And I realized, oh my gosh. Okay, so if you can hear me because you're turned off, so if you can hear me, just write in the chat that you can hear me. Will you do that? Just say hello in the chat. I was even chatting. And let's see, yeah, you should be able to chat with me privately as well. Hello! I'm so glad you're here. I can believe I did that, actually. I can totally believe that I did that. Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for making the time to come. I had a few people come, text and say they couldn't make it, so they were glad that it was being recorded so they could watch it later. But so let's do a little refresher on EFT. And before we get started, will you put in the chat why you wanted a refresher? Is there a certain thing that you were hoping to hear about today that has to do with EFT? You can just say no if there's nothing, but if there is something, let me know. I'll just start with the basics of EFT as far as like what it is. So EFT tapping stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. As you know, it's just a simple body-based method that lowers stress in the body. And I was just listening to one of my all-time favorite people, Dawson Church. And if you would like to listen to an audiobook about tapping, he's like probably my favorite source besides Peter Stapleton, who actually runs all of the studies through Bond University in Australia. And she works with doctors and researchers and scientists all over the world to study EFT and find evidence for and reasons for why it works. But Dawson Church, he's just such a neat, like friendly, positive person, and he has implemented EFT into his own practice and has taught it all over the world and participated in the studies as well. And he was just talking about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system or response in the body, and when you're stressed, you're in parasympathetic, and it sends a message to the adrenal glands and triggers cortisol. And we like cortisol because cortisol gets us up in the morning. It gets us moving when we need to move, but it's not meant to be on all day. So it'd be like, setting your alarm in the morning to get up, but then you have your alarm going off all day long, that burr, 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 burr. You'd feel pretty awful by the end of the day with that going. I'm pretty sure that's like a torture technique somewhere. I heard it was Barney or Metallica, but still, this big obnoxious sound. Okay, yeah, we'll go through the steps and I'll make sure we cover that. The adrenal glands will turn on cortisol when we're stressed so that we can deal with whatever the stress is. It's meant to get us moving. So if you think of stress as like a bear or a tiger, you've got to get away from that. So you go into fight or flight and the blood rushes to the extremities away from the organs. So your digestion is worse, your thinking brain, creative brain is worse because you don't actually need that to run away from danger or to fight danger. But when you lower stress, when you run from the bear or the tiger and you've resolved this threat, then all that comes back online. But if we are in a chronic stress state from feeling all these threats around us that we really can't run from, like the phone call that we don't want to make, or taxes, or just jobs, life in general, then we can't really get away from that. And learning how to lower the stress response in our body is really good for us so that we can resolve that stress response. We can go back into parasympathetic. Our stress comes down and our adrenal glands trigger DHEA, which is like a very similar hormone. I'm forgetting the name of it, but I think that is a hormone, if I remember right. But anyway, DHEA, which is the good one, versus they teeter they teeter-totter like this. So then you're in parasympathetic, which is good because then your brain is online, your creativity is back, your reasoning power is good. You're not making emotionally charged decisions. You have more energy, your immune system goes up. So all those things are really important. So that is a really quick summary of the how or the reason that tapping works. But tapping has been known to lower cortisol. I guess I should say that. Tapping reduces cortisol levels to resolve that fight or flight. It tells your body that you're safe. So it's sending that signal through points on your nervous system. In your connective tissue, there are systems of the body that they have discovered with dye, injecting dye in the body. They can actually see the tapping points, and that's where there is a lot of connective tissue coming together. And I liken that to the outlets in our house. So I have these devices. I don't know, I collect these things, but this is an EMF reader, and it's for checking your outlets and things to make sure that your electronics are safe in your house. So right now this looks like it's at healthy levels. It's in the green, it's at 23. If I was to walk over to that outlet over there, which I did, but you can't see it on camera, so you'll have to take my word for it. It spikes up to and turns red, and it goes up to like 115, 120, and it's flashing severe. So when we get near those outlets, energy from the house is easier to access. And we like that because we can plug things in and access that energy point to use it, right? Well, in our body, we have access points, and those are those meridian points where that connective tissue is at. We have easier access to this premovascular system that triggers the nervous system and sets off all of these hormonal reactions in our body. And I have this really cool little device, and it is an acupressure pin. But what's cool is it's also conductive. So it will show you those same access points on your body. And if I put it right there, that is a tapping point. If I go here, there's really nothing, right? If I come down, there is the tapping point. Let me push on it. Okay. I have to hold it with my hand right here, which makes it a little harder. But anyway, these tapping points, there's another tapping point. They are all just like the outlets in the house. So I just think that's a really cool physical representation of why the tapping points actually work in our body, that they are actually an access point to our system that sends that message really fast to our brain to calm our system down so that we lower the stress in our body and we're kind of back online. We can access the things that we want to access. So any questions so far? Okay, type them in if you have any, but I'll just keep going. So one of the ways that our body stores stress is tension in the body. And it's often, at least for me, I will notice the physical signs of stress before I actually notice my emotions, because I feel like I'm just going, and I will stuff all that. There's no time to worry about the things that I'm worrying about because I have all these things that I have to do. So oftentimes I will notice tension in my body or pain or something like that, headache, before I actually am aware of how stressed I feel. Does that sound familiar to you? Say yes in the chat if that sounds familiar to you, or let me know how you feel stress in your body. So tension is super common, and we'll feel it in our shoulders. We'll feel it like in my mid back today. I think I was feeling that in my mid back today. And so tapping can help relieve pain in the body as well, pretty fast. I hold my breath too. I do too. And that's another thing that in that sympathetic, parasympathetic, I'm sure you know about this in your profession too, about the breath. So yeah, it is really common for me to hold my breath. So let me ask you, I think you guys that are here are actually pretty experienced tappers. I was going to ask how silly you feel that tapping is, because we could tap on tapping being silly before we actually do some tapping. But would you like to just jump right into tapping? Okay, you got it. So let's go through the tapping points real quick. So the tapping points, I should use the pen and show you all the tapping points, but I won't do that. It is kind of fun. But the tapping points, there's just 8 of them that they use in the clinical trials. We actually have 113. I believe it's 113. But we only need to use 8, and that's what they use in the clinical trials. So that we keep it simple, and those do work, and they correspond to organs in the body and everything, and just kind of covers the whole thing. You're going to feel good after using just these 8 points. So when we start tapping, we tap on the side of the hand, and this is not one of the 8. This is just the side of the hand point, and this is where we do what's called a reversal. It's where whatever the issue is, you want to reverse that issue, right? So we're going to set that up by saying something and tapping right on the side of the hand, and the point is actually right below the pinky. But if you just use all of your fingers, you'll easily hit that spot. And I kind of figure, it's that the tapping is vibrating through the muscles and the bone and all that stuff. So you're not gonna do it wrong. You can just tap on the side of the hand, and we're gonna say a setup statement, and we'll say it 3 times. So whatever we say, we're gonna just describe the issue. So you can just rant and talk if you wanted. But ideally, the magic words that work in the clinical trials are even though, and then you state the issue, and then you end it with a statement of acceptance. And the reason that we do that is because even just that is very healing to us. It calms our system to just be accepted and acknowledge the way that we feel. And that's really important. And just that alone can calm you right down. So I have clients that will just do this. I mean, they won't do the whole thing. They'll be out in public. They'll just do this. And they'll say whatever it is to themselves. And that works for them. And so it's really neat to hear how people adapt tapping to be used in their own lives. But so we'll tap on the side of the hand. Whatever the setup statement is, we say that 3 times. And then the 8 points that you use are, let me take these are my blue light glasses, on the top of the head, and it's just right where your ears meet, the line straight up from your ears meets right at the top of your head. So tap on the top of your head. And then right where your eyebrow, you saw with the pen there, it's right here. So I'll see people tap on their forehead here, but that's actually not it. It's right on your eyebrow where your eyebrow meets your nose. So that's where you want to tap. And you can use 2 fingers. There are some that say these 2 fingers, the conductivity of the body and the way that it works, you want it to be the 2 fingers. It could be more, but definitely the 2 fingers. So I just do it. Why not? The 2 fingers. And you could do both or just one. It really doesn't matter. You'll get the same benefit, and that's what the clinical trials showed as well. So you've got top of the head, eyebrow point, and now we go side of the eye, and then under the eye, straight down. And it's just this, imagine this orbital bone. You're just tapping on this orbital bone. So side of the eye, under the eye, straight down. And then we're going to go under the nose, between the nose and the lip, and then on the chin, between the lip and the chin. And then on the chest. And I tap with my fingers like this. So if you look at the 2 nodules, you go straight down from there to where it gets soft. You're just like under them and kind of out to the side a little bit. And that's just where it dips in. And I just tap with my fingers. Some people will do their full fingers like this with both hands, but you don't even have to do that. You can just do one side. And the last one is a hand width down from your armpit. So if you just hug yourself, be in the middle of the bra strap if you're a woman, right on the side. So there you go. And for some reason my camera wants me centered and high, so now you can't see. But that's what I'm doing. Haha! I got it. See, I tried to move. Okay, does it matter left or right depending on your dominance? It does not. Now in clinical trials, none of that made a difference. But I know that different practitioners will do different things. So they will, for instance, switch it up, or they want to do the tapping, kind of, both sides all the time. And it is kind of a preference thing. You could play around with that and see, like maybe for you. I know that sometimes if a client is stuck, or if I'm stuck and I'm just not feeling better, I will switch. Instead of doing this or this, I will switch. And I think for me, that's a brain thing. And so I have done that before. But it doesn't matter. The clinical trials, there have been hundreds of them, and the evidence showed this very simple technique. They did it one way, and it worked all the way. It has worked all the way through. So they don't vary it up at all. They keep it even simpler. Like the stuff that you see on YouTube is not simple. It's long and complicated and like poetic and everything. No, in the clinical trials, it is very, very, very simple. And so that's how I teach it too, because if you're using it for yourself at home, we'll just keep it as simple as possible, because that works. That's what the clinical trials have showed. So any other questions there? Okay. Let me make sure I'm not skipping over things I wanted to tell you. I have my little notes here. I'll send these notes in the chat too. In fact, I wrote out a little tapping script, so I'll give you that. Let me see if I can do it right now and you can follow along. Share the note. There we go. All right, you should be able to see that note. Let me know if you can or can't. Okay, so let's do some tapping. So we're going to tap on the side of the hand. So what I'd like you to do is close your eyes and just kind of tune into your body for a second. And feel your feet on the ground. You can even look around, just resourcing. So see where you're at, where the walls are around you, and really feel like you're present in your own body. And then kind of tune in and see if you do have any tension anywhere in your body. Good. And if you want to tell me where your tension is, I'm reading the chat, so I'll follow that along. But I'm going to keep it kind of generic so that you can switch this up. You could rewatch this later and switch it up. So you've scanned your body, just notice where you're holding that tension. And now let's rate it. So rate it 0 to 10. 0 would be there's no tension in your body at all. 10 would be it's the most it could be. So the very most it could be is 10. And then when you're ready, we're going to start tapping. And we're just going to create a sense of safety in your body. Because sometimes, we look at what we're going through in our life, and it does feel like a threat. And then when you start tapping and you bring that down, what I'd like you to imagine as we're tapping is that your body is your friend, and that tension, even though it feels combative, it's actually your body taking really good care of you and doing exactly what it's meant to do. Our bodies love us, and they do everything all the time, 24/7 for our survival. So that is what we're going to focus on in this tapping session. So if you're ready, start tapping on the side of your hand. Take a nice deep breath, and then also make a mental note of that number that you gave it, because we'll revisit that at the end. Okay. And just say, even though I feel this tension in my body, I fully love and accept myself in this moment. And sometimes people feel a little weird accepting and loving themselves when they have tension or stress and things like that. So I'm going to vary it up on this next one. So say, even though I hope you can hear me. Even though I have this tension in my body, I respect that I feel this way. And then I'll do a different one in this one. So even though I'm carrying all this tension, I'm safe to deal with that in this moment. So maybe one of those felt a little more true than the other ones. So if you were doing it on your own, you could do that one 3 times, or you could do it all 3 different ways. So we're going to start tapping, and we're keeping this very basic. So we're going to tap on the top of the head. We're just going to go through and say, this tension that I feel. And if you want, you can say, in my stomach, neck, whatever it is. Okay, eyebrow point, this tension that I feel. Side of the eye, this tension that I feel. Under the eye, all this tension. Under the nose, I'm so tense. On the chin, my tension. On the collarbone, all this tension that I'm carrying. Okay, and then under the arm, all this tension that I'm carrying in my body. And you can say that however you want. Okay, let's take a deep breath. And I always end up, you don't actually have to do that, but I always do that. I don't know. And I think it's part of the breath thing that you were talking about, holding the breath. Just getting a good breath. Okay, so now let's rate that again. So throw a number in the comments so I can see, did your number change? Okay. Okay. Let's do one more round. And so pick a number for that, and let's do one more round. So this time we're gonna do a little different. So now you know at home, and you could replace tension with anything. You know, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling, you know, sad, or I'm feeling frustrated. It could be anything. And you can use that same thing. So I just repeated what was said in the setup statement. I kept it super simple. And what you're doing when you're tapping on those 8 points is just reminding yourself of the thing. You're keeping your mind focused on the thing that needs to be safe, that you need to feel safer around. So it's just a reminder phrase. So you're just keeping your mind focused. So it doesn't have to be flowery and different and new and all that stuff. Which is what you kind of see online. Okay, so let's do that again. So focus on that tension that you feel, and we're gonna add a little bit more into it. I'm not just gonna say tension. I'm going to suggest to my body that I'm safe. So that's the other thing is you can then take it to the next round saying I'm safe, and then we'll do a third round too. So on this round, you could give it a new number. If you feel like it's the same, then just make a mental note of that. So we could do a whole nother setup statement, but we don't have to because we're still tapping on the exact same thing. So let's just keep tapping. Are you ready? So let's go to the top of the head. We're gonna say all this tension. I still feel this tension. You can see I'm tapping on my head a little different, doesn't it? It's not just one way, right? So eyebrow point, this tension that I feel. Okay, side of the eye. I'm safe to notice this tension. Under the eye, I'm tapping so my body will feel safe. So I can release some of this tension. Under the nose, I'm safe to recognize this tension. Okay, on the chin, this tension is just carrying my stress for me. Okay, on the chest, and I'm giving my body permission to relax now. Okay, under the arm, I'm grateful for my body that carries this tension for me. Okay, should we go one more round? Let's go to the top of the head again. Now we can even add a little bit more. So you could say more about what you're feeling. Sometimes you might switch over into gratitude for your body and for what it's carrying for you. You might have an idea of what that tension is actually about. And you can rant, you can just vent and talk. And so this is you don't have to do that. We could just keep going with the exact same thing, or you could say, I know exactly what this tension is about. Eyebrow point, this tension that I'm carrying. I think I know what it's about. Side of the eye. This tension that I'm carrying. I'm just grateful that my body does that for me. Under the eye. I'm just letting my body know that it's safe now. Under the nose. I'm safe now. And I'm grateful for my body. On the chin. I'm grateful for my body that carries this tension for me. But I'm letting it know. Let's go on the chest. That it can release some of that tension now. Under the arm. I'm safe to release some of this tension now. Okay, let's take another deep breath. And then let me know, did it go down for you? Nice. That's awesome. So there's a really good example of clarity comes when the stress goes down, the cortisol, we have that teeter-totter and you go back into that happy place where your body is starting to feel safe. And so then clarity comes because now your mind is back online. So what you can do is you can take the specifics of where you're seeing that tension coming from, and you can tap on that specific thing. So you could say it's like, I don't know, a coworker or something, and you say, I'm stressed because they said something to me and it wasn't what they said, it was how they were looking at me. Maybe it felt like judgment. That's just like, I totally made that up. But if that's what's happening, you could tap on that and say, I felt really judged. That stressed me out. This tension is from when they looked at me. That look on their face. I remember that look on their face, and be that specific while you're tapping around on those points, and the tension will subside even further. And we could do that with a setup statement saying, even though my coworker looked at me and I felt whatever I felt, I fully love and accept myself anyway. Because it's weird that we judge ourselves, we will accept those things and judge ourselves sometimes, or judge our reaction to it, or all those things. So the love and acceptance in that setup statement is actually a really important piece. And they did find that in the clinical trials that was an important piece. It made a big difference. Just that alone did. Do you guys have any other questions? I'm going to do more of these. I'm actually going to move it over to YouTube live because it will be easier for me to see like the chat and respond in real time. This actually wasn't that bad, but I think the links will be easier. I think the whole system will be easier. But so I couldn't do that today because I have to have certain things in place for that. But I am going to do this more and on other subjects as well. And then I'll create some stuff to tap on in each one. So I would love to get your feedback on what worked for you with this, or what you wish you had heard, and I will be sure to cover that in the future. I just want to keep improving these. So I'm really glad that you were here, that you made the time to come and do this, and I hope that it helps you. I hope that this refresher on EFT really helps you to use this in your daily life. And the tap and breathe, I have that YouTube channel which has like the tap and breathe on it and a few other subjects, and I will put that in the chat as well, the link to that. My channel is at the EFT School. So if you go on YouTube and you just look up the EFT School, you'll see my picture, so you'll know it's me. And there are a few videos on there, and I will add more in. Okay. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. And if I can add more to that and make this easier and faster and give you that practical, I want to offer that practical resource for everybody in this whole world. We're going to change the world one home, one individual at a time, so that people can be emotionally resilient and live out their genius, because they have full access to their brains and their bodies, and they're in tune with themselves, and they can change the world. So that's what I think. I think we're changing the world. Okay, is there anything else before we sign off? Okay. Well, thank you for being here. And you can always message me. You can message me anytime. I'd love to get feedback and ideas and all that stuff, and just keep this going. Why do I? Oh, that's a bummer. Okay. Ah, thank you. I love your comments. Thank you, thank you. Okay, thank you. We're all changing the world. We're going to do this. And I know the people on here too, and let me tell you, you guys are change makers. I know that. I'm grateful to know you. All right, well, have a good night. And the next time I do this, I'm going to invite people to invite people. So if you know in your business that you could see people needing this, I would love it if you would share the links to my YouTube channel or the different resources that I'm going to put out there and let them use that free resource. I just feel like the more I can extend my reach, the better. And so if that's something that you would be willing to do, even in your business, I can give you business cards or links or whatever, and share EFT that way. And if you would like to learn to use it in your business with your clients, I would love to spread it that way as well. So if you want me to do a class or something, I'll do that. You name it, I will do it. And guess what? My daughter is getting married in less than a month, and then I will be an empty nester again. And you know what? That's part of the beauty of being an empty nester. More time to save the world, right? More time to save the world. Change the world, save the world. Okay, well, have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you later.